Evening, gang. How's everyone doing? Such a beautiful Saturday. I'm looking outside at just such bright sunshine. It's so nice. But I know that with every sunshine, there's always something screwy. But you know what? No matter what, I choose to thank God for every day, for everything that He gives me, whether good or bad, because He has a plan and a purpose for it. And I wanted to share a little bit more of this morning's devotions with you guys. Some things that God brought to my heart in this area, and also He's using some different things that I've posted from the past that are just coming out at me, helping me, especially through the things I'm going through with my father right now. And I just thank the Lord for it. You know, this morning's devotions dealt with harnessing, controlling your anger. But also there was one verse in there that stuck out at me, and this is the verse. It's out of Ephesians 4, verse 15. It says, "But speaking the truth in love may grow up into Him in all things, which is the head, even Christ." There was something about that verse, speaking the truth in love in particular. There's something about that particular verse that really gets me. Something about that verse that I think it's so important to realize how vital it is that whatever we speak, whatever we say, that it is done in a loving manner and it's done honestly. I think that's what Paul strived for. Paul was very blunt in his honesty, but he did it in as blunt a loving manner as possible, I think. I know he had to mend fences and defend himself many times for what he said, but there was always a sense of, I'm not sorry for what I said, but I'm apologizing for the tone in which I said it. But most of all, I think he was saying, I don't want you to be angry at me because I'm speaking the truth and I'm doing it in as loving a manner as possible. But if I have hurt you, I'm sorry if what I said hurt. Sometimes the truth does hurt, but we have a responsibility to convey that truth in a loving manner. And I see a lot of how in this right now among the body of Christ that's not going on. I'm seeing that. And what I shared with you yesterday, while I won't go into names, there's something going on within the camp of what's called the quote-unquote biblical counseling and the Christian counseling camp. And I think more of this is on the side of the quote-unquote biblical counseling, because they believe in a style of therapy called nouthetic counseling, which I don't. I don't because it's unchristlike. It does not follow the verse I just stated. That's just where I stand on it. And it refuses, I believe, to show any mercy. And something interesting I was reading in also, and something from a post from last year, this time last year, we were discussing the concept, maybe that's not the right word, but the whole thing of grace. And we were discussing in particular last year instances of grace and mercy being shown to people. Jacob and Esau, the woman taken in adultery, the woman at the well. And here in this particular area was through the parable, of the prodigal son. I need my coffee. And it's very interesting in this passage. As many of you know, this parable takes place during New Testament times, where the youngest son goes to his dad, I want my inheritance now. I want my share now. He's had it with living under his dad's roof, under his dad's rules, being treated like he feels like an inferior. So his dad goes ahead and gives him his share, and immediately he goes into another country and spends it. He just goes hog wild, the youngest son. And as soon as all the money's gone, all his friends are gone. I'm sure you remember the story. But there's a moment when this young man comes to himself while he's in the midst of a bunch of hogs. And it says he would have eaten their food because he was so hungry because of the famine that had occurred. But he said, you know what? Back at home, my father's servants have food. They're okay, and here I am starving to death. You know what? I'm going to go back to my dad and say, I sin against heaven and against you. Let me be one of your hired servants. His mindset was, I'm not his son anymore, so maybe he'll let me be one of his servants. But the interesting thing is that if you read it, as you read it, the father completely forgives him and brings him back into the family. He never was exiled from the family to begin with, in a sense. And I found this very interesting, and I wanted to share what I wrote about this from last year. I shared how it was very familiar to me, and I learned something from it that I really needed. I saw a clear, poignant picture of the grace of God, not only in His redemption of a lost soul, but also in His restoration of the wandering child of God who wants to come home. And there are not very many parents who take their children back because their parents are just as stubborn. They're deep-seated in their legalistic Christianity, as I like to put it. But here Jesus uses this example to make a point that had to have stuck in the craw of the religious leaders of that day. Because back in any story that was used, in any teaching, the youngest son was considered a hero. And here, they were being confronted over the fact that they refused to show mercy to others. And, this is the same thing, I hate to say it, for the Pathetic counseling, or the quote-unquote biblical counseling camp. They refuse to show mercy. None of what they do shows mercy. And somebody in an article I read said the same thing. It really got me. And it was something that convicted me because I've had an issue with family members, and I had to give it to the Lord, where I was not showing mercy. I learned to forgive, and I have to learn to forgive the biblical way. And one of the things I said here is forgiveness is something that we have to do. It's something that's necessary. But it doesn't mean that we're to be a doormat for others to walk on. For forgiveness, we have to release our hold over that person. We have to be able to release our hold over them and say, okay, you're not accountable to me, you're accountable to God. I've said that before. But forgiveness is not this denial based of forget it never happened. No. And the parable of the prodigal son, I believe, demonstrated this, and the complete unquestioning, unconditional love that the father showed towards his wayward youngest son. It showed how sin has its consequences, yes, but when sin is confessed and repented of, it doesn't have that foothold. But if it's not confessed and repented of, it will have that foothold, and it will destroy us. And the other thing I saw too is the attitude of the oldest son, which is here a clear thing of a refusal to show mercy. He wants no part of the celebration. He's got the impression he's slighted because he says to his dad, and it says here in this verse, Luke 15, verse 29, I live by your rules, da da da. I obeyed your rules to the letter, da da da. You never did this for me. You never let me have a party, and yet here comes your irresponsible son who wasted all of his money that you gave him on harlots and this and that and the other, and you're celebrating him coming back. How dare you? And I thought when I did this post last year, I'm thinking, gee, this snaps an entitlement, doesn't it? How often do we act this way when somebody hurts us? How often do we feel entitled or justified in any way to make someone pay for some slight they've done, for some violation against us? When we ought to be giving all that, when we ought to be giving those hurts, anger, and remorse to the Lord. And that's something, even in regards to this morning's devotions. There's speaking the truth in love, and then there's just being nasty. You're speaking your version of the truth, as I like to put it. And this morning I was having an issue, as I said, with Isabella. Isabella seems to love my laptop. She wants to clap herself on it. That's okay. I also have an issue that I'm trying to figure out with my Word document. And it has this thing of making my typing disappear. But I think I'm getting the hang of it. But it's these things that occur that can drive you up the wall, and it can lead you to start, if you're not careful, to say or do things that dishonor God. I know that may sound really weird. It may seem, petty. But maybe there's something else. Maybe, as I said this morning, you're dealing with an impossible situation or a person. Maybe there's somebody in your life who just seems to know how to press your buttons, your emotional buttons, either because they're clueless or that they're being, they're being clueless, that they're being a pain in your backside, and they need to be gently, boldly, and lovingly confronted in love. And usually, it's in following Matthew 18 as well as Proverbs 15 verse 1 that we can find solutions to this. Proverbs 15 verse 1 states, "A soft answer turneth away wrath, and but the grievous words stir up anger." When it says soft, it means gentle. I've had moments where I just want to lash out at somebody when they respond in a way that I don't like. But I have to ask the Lord, please give me your words, help me respond your way. And he does. I had a situation when I was a store manager almost 20 years ago. I had a gentleman come in, he was just complaining and being a complete bit about our clothing. And I explained to him, all about our clothing, how, high quality the clothing was. I was being honest. The girlfriend said, "Will you knock it off? You're being a jerk." And I was being extremely nice. And I think when he saw how nice, he was like, "I'm really sorry. I've had a really bad week." He told me, "My best friend committed suicide, and I have to give the eulogy, so I'm trying to find something nice to wear." And I said, "I couldn't hope to know what you're going through. Losing somebody you care about stinks." And I said, "I couldn't hope to know what you're going through, but if you ever need somebody to talk with, I know of somebody." The Lord allowed me to plant a seed and sharing Christ with them, but also to hopefully put him in touch with a therapist who specializes in biblical Christian counseling. And he's a dear friend of mine. I don't know if the man ever went to him, but I pray that he did. But it was in that moment there, not only was I able to reach somebody, yes, I made a sale or two, but I was able to reach a guy, and that made me feel good. But then you've got those individuals who they know exactly what they're doing, they don't care. They like to intentionally inflict emotional and physical harm, especially physical. I don't know how else to describe it. There's a term, a political term called narcissistic sociopath. These are individuals that get their jollies from making you and other people miserable. When they try to make themselves look good. One of their favorite things is when you try to some parents go through that. There's a I could go into it a little bit more at another time. But the thing is, sometimes the only way to deal with these individuals is to both lovingly and boldly confront them according to Matthew 18. And if they refuse to listen and repent, you leave them and have nothing to do with them. And one of the things I want to stress in this is that it is very important to forgive, but forgiveness does not mean being a doormat, as I said before. There's a quote I love from Dr. Dan Elder. Forgiveness based on forgetfulness is the Christian version of a frontal lobotomy. He basically refers to that type of forgiveness as denial based, and I so agree. And I'm here to ask, to kind of ask an issue of a challenge. I challenge all of you who are followers of Christ to learn to extend that same love, forgiveness, mercy, and grace that God has shown you. And with whoever has hurt you, you let God deal with them. I know that's not easy. I know it's so not easy. But trust me, when you hand them over to the Lord and you hold them accountable to God, God will come through for you in ways you could never imagine. And I'm not saying that out of glee. I say that out of personal experience in a humbling way. God has done that for me in more ways than one. But I also encourage anybody who's wandered away from the Lord and thinks that there's no hope for them, that there most certainly is. Like the father in the Prodigal Son, he's waiting. He's waiting for us to come back to him. If you're saved and you've drifted away from the Lord, he's waiting for you to come back to him. He doesn't care what you did. He doesn't care what, what you did. He just wants you to come back to him. David did something really atrocious and stupid. And he committed adultery with Bathsheba, and they tried to cover it up by having her husband murdered. But when he confessed it before the Lord, he did it, confessed it, and repented of it. God forgave him. And no matter what sin you've done, he can do that for you too. He wants to meet you where you are spiritually and restore you to himself. And even if you don't know Christ, he's there at the door of your heart asking you to let in. And I'm giving you a challenge, especially to those who don't know Christ as their Savior, to make that choice to come to know him today. He doesn't care what you've done, where you're from, your religion, anything about you, but that you let him in. We all have a sin nature. The sin nature wants that complete control of you. Satan most of all wants that complete control of you. He wants to destroy you and condemn you to hell with him. The only way to escape is through accepting the free gift that God offers through his son Jesus. And I'm here urging you to do that today. There's no, for those that think you can earn your way to heaven, that there are other paths or other ways to heaven, you're being deceived. And for those who also think that there's no such thing as God, you're really being deceived. He very much exists. He's just, righteous, and holy. He can't stand sin, but he loves you, and he proved it through sending his son to die on the cross for you. He's waiting at the door of your heart, asking to be let in. The question is, will you let him in? As I said, there's no such thing as many paths or other ways to God. You can't earn your salvation. He said in John 14, verse 6, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man cometh unto the Father but by me. So he's standing at the door of your heart saying, I'm the only way to escape. Let me in. I hope and pray that you make that decision. I'm going to post a link, and I invite anyone who's watching this, click on that link, read it, and make that decision to come to know Christ today. But most of all, I also reach out to those who are struggling with this whole issue of anger, with being able to respond to others in that soft, gentle, loving answer, and to show mercy to others. Ask God to help you in that area. And if you need to speak with somebody, don't be afraid to do it. Don't be afraid to speak with somebody that wanted to do this for this evening and hopefully reach out to somebody out there who may be going through the whole issue of having been hurt, and you want to know the practical way to respond. You guys have an awesome